A couple of months ago, Artlist reached out to me to create a UGC ad for them that they can use to advertise their platform. In this breakdown video, I will dive into coming up with the idea, the filming of the project, the post-production, and what my key takeaways are from the whole process. But now that I got your attention, press that subscribe button and let's get into it. Starting with the idea, which can sometimes be the hardest part of the project, because you have a blank page and there is this pressure to come up with something that will both satisfy the client and will also exceed your artistic and or critic expectations. A couple of tips from me. First, draw the outside lines. Know what you're working with. Where are the boundaries? And by that I mean first creatively, what's expected from you, and like when you review the client deck and the brand guidelines, or you're seeing the reference videos that they sent you. What are the repeating elements? What sticks out to you? Write that down, grab like a blank piece of paper or a whiteboard and just, jot down those initial thoughts and think about the budget. Think of it as the beginning and the end of what's possible. Can you have a flying car fly on top of a moving train? Or we will be stuck in your room having to create the project there. So once I created this baseline, I used my own pitch deck template to create the client presentation. You can purchase it only for $19.99 on my website, link is going to be in the description below. So I had to create a 40-second ad that hooks the viewer attention from the start, but also keeps it while I explain about the product and also incorporate parts of my own story so that I establish some sort of credibility with the viewer. Because we're talking about a platform that filmmakers use, so they have to know that I'm a filmmaker too, and why have I decided, to use it. Having seen all the reference video though, I couldn't help but notice how all other creators were trying to grab the viewer's attention by either speaking loudly at the start, making some sort of, facial expression, and I knew I wanted something different, something that will also make me stand out creatively. So I sifted through all saved videos I have on my Instagram, just my folder of endless inspiration, because I remembered having seen a bubble gum with a Nike logo, on it somewhere, like in a commercial. And that's what I wanted to do. But I wanted to add some movement to the shot, to dolly it in and then whip pan it to reveal a text on the wall as I'm talking. Now that I had the hook, the rest was easy to write. I tried adding a bit of my personality to it when I'm delivering my lines, but the script was pretty much ready. I got a yes from the client and it was go time. I will save you the pain of pre-production, but this was my team's Milanote board. I'm thinking of doing a whole separate video about that process, so subscribing will help. But basically, that process consists of a lot of talking with the different departments to make sure that everyone understands how the end piece should look and feel like. Mainly I'm talking lighting, set design, hair and makeup, then securing the location, renting the gear, and organizing all of that information into a call sheet to give to the crew. By the way, I have a template for that too if you're wondering. Link to my online shop is going to be in the description. Let's move on to production day. I should say that it seemed as we didn't have that many shots on the list. But believe me when I tell you that 12 hours on set just fly by every time. 2 of our follow focus wheels decided to stop working on the most important and trick shot that we saved for last, the bubble gum. And I'm not even exaggerating when I tell you that I was blowing bubbles for about 500 takes there. The day started with setting the scene for the ad. It was supposed to look like my own creative space, but I opted for not filming in my real office because it's in a way too much me. And at the end of the day, we are still filming a commercial for a brand that isn't my own. While the set was being prepared, the gear was also getting rigged. We used my red Komodo paired with DZO Vespid primes. I've made a separate video for the exact Komodo rig that we use in most of our productions. You can check it out up here. I normally oversee the whole preparation process, but this time I was busy getting my hair and makeup done. We started with filming the 2 shots where me and Teddy are looking at the director's monitor, pretending to discuss something as if, we are actually on set. I kind of wanted to feel as the viewer is brought on the same set of the commercial that they're, you know, just about to watch. Then we moved to the desk, grabbing some B-roll shots of me using Artlist and just, you know, working on the desk. We mainly shot handheld, except for a couple of shots for which we used the original Ronin 1. Then we moved on to the talking head. We did a couple of takes from, you know, from the front and then from the side. And as we were just about to go into lunch break, a cat walked in. So we did a take with the cat in my lap because I thought that it added a very cheeky and fun look to the video. But sadly, the client decided not to use it in the final piece, so you know, it is what it is. Lastly, we used a giant slider that we rested on a few Apple boxes so that it's eye level with me, and attached a tripod head on top, so you know, after the push to the bubblegum, we can whip pan it to the wall. And oh my god, that was so tricky to be done in one take. Because first the bubblegum balloon had to be perfect. Then we had to nail the focus and timing and whip to the right before the balloon bursts. So, you know, in the end, we just ended up stitching 2 shots together because both the time and the gear were kind of against us, and there was really no sense for this to be, you know, a one take. Moving on to post-production. My editor Bujidar also filmed this ad, so he had a very good idea of what I needed. We reviewed the first couple versions together, chose the music, and the main challenge now was the VFX part, which was actually, you know, adding the Artlist logo to the bubblegum in a seamless way. And here comes Drew, who was kind enough to record a short explanation of how he achieved that.
Okay, so text on a gum, not that easy. First of all, we convert the vectorized logo to a 3D mesh. Afterwards, we create a thin plane that we simulate over the logo many times until it looks good. So in sculpting mode afterwards, we smooth out some parts and spherize the logo a bit. Then we track the bubblegum footage and we compose the render until it looks good and of course as realistic as possible.
Now that this was done and looked realistic enough, we moved on to work on the sound, and then it was time to show version 1 to the client. And to be transparent with you, I expected a very positive response, but to my surprise, I received a lot of feedback from the client, and I was at a very tough spot mentally during that time of the year, as my grandma just passed away and I was, you know, just very fragile mentally. And actually that led me to suffering a panic attack. The reason I'm sharing this is because I want you to know that every creative goes through a lot of challenges when working on client projects. It's never perfect from start to finish, but you have to use that experience to learn, and with time you're just going to learn how basically to separate yourself and your emotions from paid work and then channel those into your passion projects. My business manager ended up helping me with the communication during the feedback process, and in the end, you know, the final piece actually wasn't that different and, you know, far away from where we started. But it's a very delicate balance. You have to make the client happy, but at the same time protect your vision and the crew that helped you create it. Anyways, those are my 2 cents. Let me know if you see that anywhere, and I'm hella excited. So yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.